Hi, my name is Jim Gibson and I'm with CableSupply.com, and today I'm going to demonstrate on how to cut a hole in a drywall for a voice or data jack. The only tool I'm going to be using is this drywall saw, which you can buy at the local hardware store. You don't need to order it through Cable Supply. Let's start with the preliminary. The first thing you need to do is measure the other outlets in the room to make sure you have the right height from the ground up.
Okay, we've come inside out of the warehouse, and what I'm going to do is demonstrate one of the things you want to do before you start cutting holes in the walls, and that is find out where the other outlets are within that room. So one of the things you want to do is measure it. One way to do it is just take a tape measure. Now, some people debate this. They think you should measure to the center of the box. I personally measure to the bottom of the box, and it looks like it's 17.5 inches. Another way to do that on some boxes is just to measure using your cutting tool and how far up it is. So in this case, it's about two distances of my cutting tool to the top. So just get a rough measurements. You don't want your data jacks to be on a higher angle than your 110. Notice that the electrician put this in a little crooked. Our data jack is straight. One of the first things I want to do is show you the MP1, caddy fastener MP1, low voltage attachment. And as you can see, they come 10 to a box on our website. It's just a piece of metal that's cut out. And most codes accept this throughout the United States for low voltages. It's not used for 110, only for voice and data networks. I've taken a piece of drywall, just stuck it here in our warehouse so I can demonstrate how to install these drywall outlets. And remember, just a few minutes ago I measured the other outlets, and one of the ways I measured it was I used my cutting tool. So it looks like about where it's at. I can mark it by putting it in there as straight as possible and just making little gouges on the corner. Notice you can see the four corners, the four inside corners of the MP1 where I marked the wall. Another thing I do, I want to bring down here, is I put a piece of paper on the floor to protect the carpet and to gather the dust. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut horizontally from the bottom on both sides. And the reason I cut horizontally is if I cut vertically like this and there's a stud right there, then I'm going to have problems. Where if I cut this way and I run into the stud, I can just turn it around and reposition the MP1 out here and cut that way. So I want to cut across before I make my cuts this way. I want to run into that stud if it's in between these two holes that I've made in the wall. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut through. And I'm going to cut through up here. Then I'm going to cut down. I'm going to cut down. You can take this out or you can just push it behind the wall. That's all you need to do. And you place your caddy fastener right here and you push in these little ears. Now most people just leave it like that, but I'm going to show you a trick, because if you leave it like this it's kind of loose and it's bent out. It's kind of hard to get the plate to stay on there straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take pliers like this and I'm going to crimp it. So what I'm going to do is take those pliers and crimp. I'm going to grab underneath here and just crimp down on it. And then I'm going to rebend it in the back, and that holds it nice and tight. Holds it nice and tight. Of course, now I'm going to drop down my wire from the top and I'm going to pull it through. If I'm having problems with that wire, or I'm not being able to find the wire, I'm going to use my fish poles. And yes, we do sell the fiberglass fish poles on CableSupply.com. You push the fish pole up or drop it down, attach the wire to it, pull the wire out, and the faceplate goes right there with the voice and data jacks, the keystone plate, and that's how you would do an MP1 caddy fastener. Now for the wall phones, if you're putting a wall phone like in the lunchroom or you know, in the warehouse somewhere and you have drywall, obviously the wall phone wouldn't be this low. It would be at hand's length as you're standing up. That's where you want to put a wall phone. And when you put that wall phone in, you want to use that blue box, not this. This will come off. The MP1s will come off after repeated pulls. They're okay for regular wall jacks for your telephone line cords and your computer patch cords that go to the computers. And they actually look pretty nice, you know, when you put them on the wall. Now let's do a blue box. You remember that paper that we put down originally when we cut that hole? And I told you to put that paper down there for the purpose of gathering dust. Well, there it is. If you had a carpet on the ground, it would just be right on the paper. You pick the paper up, you drop it in the trash can. It saves you the extra effort. You may need to still vacuum in that area, but at least it takes the bulk of it away and it keeps the area clean. Stop. Hi, this is Jim Gibson with CableSupply.com. Today we talked about how to put in a caddy fastener MP1 when you're using it for low voltage outlets. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to call us. Our webpage is www.cablesupply.com.